machine. He's here to introduce his favorite games. From 100 to 1, he'll explain every one. Action, trivia, fantasy, and more. Stay tuned to see what's in store, so you can play the game, play the game, play the game. Yeah.
Hey everybody, my name is Tom Vassell, and today we're talking to
Jason Levine,
who's here to give us the 20 best games he's ever played, which may not be the 20 best games ever, but they are in his opinion anyway.
In my opinion, these are the 20 best games ever.
Well, we're only going to hear 10 today. 20 to 11.
Yes, and you should have every one of these in your collection. I'm going to say that in advance.
Are you kidding? I don't even say that with my top 20.
We talk about collections, and I know people were saying on an earlier one how do I have so many games, and I've been collecting them over 30 years.
Right, so that means you should not be taking his advice as to what you should have in your collection, because essentially he puts everything in his collection.
I do, and it's been 30 years. It's not like I've collected them in a year, for those wondering, but these ones now are the best of the best, and these ones deserve to be in everyone's collection.
Well, let's find out. Here we go.
My number 20 is Dominion.
I thought it would be in your top 10. I'm wrong.
But like I said, all these games deserve to be in everyone's collection. Dominion. What can I say about that has been said? It redefined the genre. Deck building. No one ever heard of this term deck building until Dominion. Yes, Magic had, I guess, you build a deck, but you come with a deck.
You build the deck.
You build the deck during the game. And deck building, Dominion took so many aspects of so many games and made it incredible. I mean, it took Magic and turned it into a whole different thing, deck building. And now, I don't know how many deck builders there are now. There's hundreds of them now. There's everything from Legendary to this to that to DC Deck Builder to everything. But Dominion is the game. I remember playing it when Val was playing the demo copy back in like 2007 and said, here, play this game, tell me what you think. And I played it back at the WBC when it was still in demo form, and the cards didn't even have cool pictures on it. And I was like, this one's going to be a hit. And
yep, same thing happened to me. I played it in the sleeves, and the pictures weren't very good quality. And I was like, what is this game?
I know.
Let's play it again.
And every time they say there's going to be no more expansions, they just released the Adventures expansion.
Honestly, though, I do like the newest expansion, but they don't need to release any more expansions.
They don't, but I'd love to see more. It's Dominion is a game that is just wonderful. Everyone needs to get it. It's awesome. It is one of the best games of all time. My number 19 is The Princes of Florence.
See, I almost put this in the top 10 list I was making for you, but there was a game I thought that you thought was better than The Prince of Florence in the top 10.
And it's probably on your list, and it's probably in my top 10, but we'll find out soon.
Princes of Florence is an interesting game, and I'll tell you why I wouldn't recommend this, and I don't think everyone needs to own it. I think Prince of Florence has some great mechanisms. In this game, you are auctioning for things and winning things, and then you're putting them Tetris style in a grid. The problem that this game has is that the auctions are so critical that if you make a mistake, you've lost. Not you can recover and come back and stuff. You lose if you make a mistake in the auction, especially for a joker.
Yes, I agree with that. If you make a mistake, you lose. But you can say, okay, this is going for good value. And I guess the players in each game determine the value. You know, should these things go higher? Should these things go less? Oh, I could get a bargain on this. Oh, these things are going high, so I think I'll go for this instead and get a bargain here. And you really could determine a lot in those auctions. But yes, you have to be very careful on seeing how other people value things when you play the game and determine which is the best course to go. But I think that's what makes it great. It's you have an auction, but the auction values are one of the keys to the game. There's also obviously trying to complete your text that you need to do, complete your little works and everything. So there's a lot more to the game than that, but the auction is what makes the game phenomenal.
All right.
My number 18, and I just want to say this now, I can't wait for the movie to come out. Star Wars Imperial Assault. I'm looking forward to December.
Wow. Wow.
What?
Well, I knew you liked the game. I didn't realize it was going to be this high on your list.
I love it. I mean, we always talk about this, how few good Star Wars games there are.
That's true.
And this one is awesome. I've never been I don't like dungeon crawls. And we talked about this earlier. I like Aliens. I like the theme. And I love this. I didn't like Descent. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't anything special. I love Imperial Assault. Yes, it's basically like Descent, but it's Star Wars. And the more they add, now Boba Fett's in there, R2-D2 and C-3PO. There's Wampas coming soon, which we got to see. And what I really like about it, not just the dungeon crawl part, but I really like skirmish mode. Skirmish mode is what put this game over the top for me. Is that you can do...
skirmish mode is good too. I agree.
You can do a 2-player, light little, I guess, war game. But it doesn't have to be just a war game because you don't just have to kill. There's missions like collect the space junk or whatever. I call it capture the flag because it's just easier to say capture the flag because people understand what that means. But they have so it's not just I want to kill your guys or you want to kill mine. Maybe if I capture my flags before you kill all my guys, I'll win by doing the capture the flag method. And I really like the skirmish mode. I think that is incredible. Star Wars, incredible game. Star Wars Imperial Assault. The fact that it actually took a license and made a great game out of it is amazing. Incredible. Star Wars Imperial Assault, awesome.
All right.
My number 17 is Age of Renaissance. This is an older game.
Wow, another Martin Wallace game.
No, not Princes of the Renaissance. Age of Renaissance.
Oh, Age of Renaissance.
The old Avalon Hill game.
Oh, wow.
It's another one of those, I'd call it, I guess, building up and trading in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, well, this is actually the first game in your list that I don't have much knowledge of at all.
It's basically you are controlling areas, so you're fighting to move into areas, and when you have those areas, each area, like one area might be a spice area, one area might be a silk area, and then you want to collect, you want to be in multiple areas of spice and silk, because when a spice card gets played, depending how many areas you're in, that's how much money you're going to get. And then with the money that you have, you are going to, there's a whole tech tree of, I've learned how to build cathedrals, and I've learned how to, sail across the ocean. And you're buying all these techs to learn how to do different things, and that's where you're building up your techs. So it's more of a tech tree game, but you use the map to build on the map. There's also calamities that come out where people could play calamities on you, and it's wonderful. It's in a similar vein to games like History of the World or Small World or games like that, but it has a tech tree and trading aspect to it that is incredible. It's a game that scales well for all the way from 3 to 6 players because you don't use the whole map. You only use part of the map if you play with 3. You use the whole map if you play with 6, so you don't have to worry about changing too much, and definitely one of the best trading, building up tech tree games ever.
Okay.
My number 16, which Tom's going to probably peek at his list in about a second here, is Terra Mystica.
Yes, I put that in your top 10.
It's only number 16. I love Terra Mystica. We've talked about this. I played it once with Tom. I tried to show him it. He thought it was overwrought. I love it. I love
That's a great word for it, overwrought. But yes.
That's how you felt, but I love it. I love the building. I love how you have to build up your different levels based on what kind of buildings you have. These buildings give you more money. These buildings give you more building materials. These things give you special powers. You have a race. You're racing up to get. You're racing up 4 little trees to get to the top. You're building cities based on how you build. If you're next to other people, you're getting discounts and you're working off them. The little magical, the purple things, and you move them around to get your special actions. I love that part. I think that adds so much to the game. Determining
makes no thematic sense.
It's the Mystica part. The Terra is the land part where you're terraforming the land. The Mystica is using those little purple things to get magic powers.
Well, Jason's very fortunate because we have a guy in our game group who plays this like every time we have a meetup.
Yes.
It's like there's always Terra Mystica being played.
Yes, and it's incredible. I can't say enough about it. It's a newer game of the Euros, but I think, as we've seen, it's been out for 3 years now, 4 years, and it's still standing the test of time. And it's rated high. Everyone who plays it loves it. Well, not everyone. Everyone who's a Eurogamer loves it. If you're a Eurogamer, you will love Terra Mystica. You need to at least play it once in your life, and after that, you're going to be addicted.
We'll see.
My number 15, and this is my last Stefan Feld on the list, is Macau. Don't even say that. Macau is amazing. We have someone in our game group who just got into Macau and has played it how many times recently? She pulls it out every time, does she not?
Well, so you're both wrong. I don't know what to tell you.
No, we're right. We're right because, as I say many times, Stefan Feld is a genius. Every game he does has different mechanics. I've never seen a designer who every game he does,
are you kidding me?
He creates
Are you kidding me? Every single of his games are different.
Completely different mechanics. Yes, Trajan uses Mancala.
Trajan and Bora Bora are really similar.
No, Bora Bora uses the dice of the up and down. Councils of Burgundy uses dice in terms of where you use it, and this game uses the dice in terms of what you collect for your cubes. The Wind Rose is. The rest of the game is just Euro, and it's just, as Tom would say, point salad. But the Wind Rose is so great in this, and the cards you take and using the Wind Rose. So what happens is you roll dice, and there's different color dice, and whatever the number is and whatever the color is, that's how many cubes you get. But they go into that many turns later. So if I take a 5, I'm not going to get those cubes for 5 turns. And you want to match up the cubes because certain cards you might need 2 purples and 2 reds to play the card. So trying to match the cubes on that Wind Rose, and every turn it's moving, and you have to use those cubes for your cards. You have to use them for buying things on the board. You have to use them for moving your ships. It is just, that Wind Rose is why I think Macau is Stefan Feld's best game. It is awesome.
All right.
My number 14 is Small World.
Wow, that's higher than I thought it would be, actually.
I'm going to include Vinci in this because I love Vinci. I played
but
Vinci.
You can't get Vinci, and it's not worth talking about because Small World replaces it in every single possible way.
Well, except for the Mediterranean, like the old school European conquering theme. Yes, Small World is incredible.
We need more games about the Mediterranean. Right, go ahead.
No, we don't. But I loved Vinci. I love Small World. Obviously, both me and Tom, we both have the designer edition.
All right.
Well, it's at the Dice Tower Con. It's in the Dice Tower Con library. So if you come to Dice Tower Con, you'll get to play with designer edition. Mine's being painted at the moment. When I'll hopefully show that off to everyone at some point. And it's incredible. It's one of the best conquering games out there. They took away the dice. I talked about earlier conquering games, and all of those use dice to do the conquering. This took away the dice. This is just a pure, I have this many troops more than you, I just win the space. So you don't have to worry about rolling dice. Yes, you're using more troops, so you're not expanding as quickly as other games where you can put 1 troop in, roll a die, go, put 1 troop in, roll a die, go, put 1 troop in, roll a die, go. Here you got to put 3 here, then another 3 here, then another 5 here in order to conquer, so you're not conquering quite as much. But you have, the conquering is great. In Small World, the powers are really cool. All the different fantasy powers make it really cool. I loved Vinci. The one thing I like about Vinci better, and I do want to say this, is I like the getting to a certain amount of points for the end, because in Small World, the one thing I don't like is that if you're playing an 8-turn game, after turn 7, no one's going to go in decline because you can't then play your next power. But in Vinci, you can go in decline all the way till the end. That's the one thing that I like better in Vinci, but I love Small World. I love the maps. I love the artwork. I love the fantasy theme. Love everything about it. Small World definitely belongs in your collection.
Okay, I'll agree on that one.
My number 13 game is Breakout Normandy.
Okay, wow, that's pretty high.
It's incredible. If you want to talk about a simulation game, Don Greenwood is one of the best developers and designers out there. This game, when he designed it, it's called the Impulse System, and there's a whole bunch of games based on it. And it also when you see newer war games, those card-driven ones where you're going point to point, this one has spaces, but you're still going point to point, but you're going from space to space. So it was a predecessor to point to point where you had the little points with little lines between them. And this game truly, truly simulates the storming of the Normandy beaches and trying to get into Normandy. But what makes it unique is that impulse system. What it does is you don't know when the turn's going to end each turn. So each day can go really long or really short because the good guy side, well, sorry for those of you in Germany, but the good guy side, the American side, when Americentricness, when you roll your dice, so if I roll a die and I get like a 10 to your 4, I get, I beat you by +6 and I get whatever. But if I roll a dice and get a 5 to your 3, I also beat you by +2. But if it's in the 6th impulse, because I rolled less than the 6, that ends the turn. So I want to get high rolls with the Americans so I get more and more turns. But every turn you have to roll those dice to see, does the turn go on or do we go to the next day? And obviously you start on June 6th and you go to June 13th and you have certain things you have to do by the end of the game, and if you don't meet those objectives, then the Germans win. The Germans are really just trying to hold their line while the Americans are trying to push forward. It's an incredible game. It's a game that was reprinted recently by L2 Publishing, and it's a game that, if you like war games, it's one of the definitive war games in the genre.
All right.
Now I'm going to bring us to a shorter game. My number 12 is Summoner Wars.
Wow, that's really high. I mean, I'm with you. It's one of my favorite games.
It's one of my favorite games, too. I mean, how many times have we played it? I don't even know how many times we've played it. We've played it a lot together.
I really like it.
I really like it, too. I like this. Now, this is also one of those, is it a war game? Is it a not war game?
I don't care about that sort of nonsense.
It's more of a pushing... It's a pushing...
tactical two-player combat.
It's a tactical combat game.
It's a summoner versus summoner type of game. There's a lot of those.
Yes, but this one is great. You have a deck. You have to really determine, do I want to use the deck for putting things out, or do I want to use the deck, like, do I burn a bunch of cards to put out a big thing, or do I burn less cards to put out a small thing? And then, of course, you have to do the whole battling on the board. And these guys can then do this. Some guys can shoot. Some guys can charge. Every single deck is unique. There's about 14 factions now, I think, in all of them. And then there's now these double factions that combine. And so you have so many combinations of factions in this game. And you really, really, really have choices. Do I want to be, this, or do I want to be that? Do I want to be undead ones that can bring things back, or do I want to be, jungle ones that can move around and move fast?
Factions.
Oh, there's 16?
Yeah.
Okay, there's 16. I thought the other set came with only 6 instead of 8, the new Master set.
Doesn't matter. The new Master set had 8 factions, and they were split between 2. There was 2 in each one, so that was 16.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So there's 16. There's 2 more than I remember. Anyway, Summoner Wars is great. It's the game that put Plaid Hat on the map, I think. I know everyone says that there's other games that put Plaid Hat on the map, but...
No, it's Plaid Hat's first game, so yes. And it's an excellent one that I would still gladly play.
Every day. When we got the multicolored ones, we were playing it like crazy, and I love Summoner Wars. I can't recommend it highly enough. If you don't have it, you should go out and get as many of the factions as you can.
Or just buy a couple and see if you like the game first.
Last one for this list. My number 11 is El Grande.
Ah, so close! I picked that for Jason's top 10.
I'm sorry. Only 11. Again, only 11 means that it's one of the most awesome games of all time.
It's an area control style game in Spain where you control different spots in the Spanish area.
Yes.
With cubes, but the what differentiates this game is the card system.
Yes. So you're basically... There's actually 2 different versions of the game. I like both of them. The original version where you have cards from 1 to 18 and you mean
the game or it?
No, there's 2 different versions. Yeah, but
they're very different versions.
They're very different. The way you play the cards is different. When one, you're playing the cards from 1 to 18. The higher the card, the less troops you get, but you get your first choice of the power cards.
It's probably the best way to play.
But the other version has cards from 180 to 10, and then they started adding more in the between. And the difference is when I play 180, it gives me less troops, but it gives me the power right on the card. So instead of getting the random powers where some people get better and worse during the game, this one everyone has the exact same 180 power and the exact same 170 power. And that was the expansion deck. And I like that deck too.
It's not bad. It's just not. I think the base game's fine.
Oh, I think the base game is more than fine. I mean, I think it's awesome, and it's number 11 on my list. It is one of the best, if not the best, area control games out there. It's an area control game. I also like the tower. You put things in the Castillo, as they call it, and then you could paratroop them into an area later to overtake someone in the area. And obviously, first place in area gets more points than second, than third, and just phenomenal game.
All right. Well, I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games left that I think will be in your top 10.
Let's see.
We'll see if we'll be right. There we go. 10 great more games. The best 10 of all time. Let's find out what they are next time. Until then, I'm Tom Vassell.
Jason Levine.
Woo.